Yo nerds, welcome back to another video. Today I am going to rank every single scrap mechanic technology from S to F, S being the best, F being the worst, and I really hope you enjoy this one. So first up we have uh like mortars or like fucking grenade launchers. I think that they're pretty useful if you don't have a downfiring cannon, you can like angle it really high and measure the range, but that's really just assuming that your enemy is not moving. However, if you're out of rounds and you need a backup plan and you're looking down a barrel of an enemy tank, I think it's a pretty solid thing to have. So I'll put this as a baseline C tier tech. It's nothing special, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Next up, we have uh, base extension armor. Uh, this has been popularized by Lion Fury, I think, and it's a pretty decent piece of armor. However, it just it's not that good because of the inconsistency and the just the shit mechanics in the game. I think it's really just it's a B tier armor, but it's nothing special again. I think this really deserves a place in B, but it really doesn't deserve to be any higher at all. That's the highest I'm gonna get to that. So next we have small tanks. Now small tanks are a bit questionable. I don't think it really counts as technology, but it's very much in the meta to make as small of a tank as you can. And I would give him an A, but that's not a tank. I mean, it is, but that's a fucking tic tac. I can't give it anything higher than a B. Then gyro stabilizers. Now, uh, these things are meant to replace. Well, not really, but it's on mostly on aircraft actually. But it's on. It's supposed to be replacing uh basic stabilizers that I'm gonna talk about soon. But I think on aircraft they're a bit more like they can be a liability. So I'm gonna give them a D. Next is regular stabilizers, which let's be honest, it's really fucking good, and they've been around for a while. They've been around for like 2 or 3 years, something like that, and they've been really good. They keep your turret and gun stable while you're moving, so you can aim better while moving, which really only is it's really only good if you have like if you can fire on the move effectively, but it's really small, it's really compact, and it can come really handy. So I'm giving that an A. Or am I think it deserves an S. It's really good. Next up is boots. What are boots? Well, they're used as armor, but honestly, they're really hard to hide, and the same problem as base extensions, they don't work most of the time. They're, because of the inconsistency and stuff. It's the same thing, but less effective and way more difficult to hide. So I'm gonna give that a D. Next up is the kneeling feature. Now, the kneeling feature is really, really not popular. It's more of like an extra thing. It's really good if you have like a good gun depression or an electric drive, which I have neither. And so, you know, I I personally wouldn't give anything better than an E. It's useless. Like it's not gonna be useful in a modern battle. In a modern battle, you know what's gonna be useful? Speed. And the best thing for speed is to have no wheels to slow you down. Thrusters and fucking mesh blocks underneath to minimize friction and maximize speed. This is really, really, really this plays a huge part in today's meta, which is just a very fast large scan tank, but it's fast. So as much as I hate it, I'm gonna have to give it a C because it can be very effective. Next up, laser sights. Laser sights are just weird. They're the odd one out. They're not as useful as like any other method of aiming. They're really bad long range, and they can get you spotted way more easily, especially if the enemy plays on low graphics. So that can be a liability, but then again, they're also pretty useful if you're really unsure about where you're aiming. So I'm gonna give that an E. It's not that good. Next up, stabilize. Fucking suspension glitches. These are so good. They're like, if it wasn't for their janky nature, I would give them an S. They deserve an A. They allow for compact ways of turning anything really. Well, I mean, it's more joints than like an engine, but it's less space, so it's kind of worth it. And it also is basically the only effective method to turn your turret if it's stabilized. So these things go hand in hand, but yeah, they really do go hand in hand. Next up is amphibious tanks. They're also part of the meta. But they're not that useful. You just go on water. And yes, it's way more difficult to hit you while you're in water, but if take notes, if the enemy has DF, you're gone. Plus, if the enemy does not have DF and you like swim across like a river, they can just go and just drive under the water until the next fucking beach or the next shoreline, and they can just kill you there. Plus, that gives them protection. It's really hard to kill someone when they're underwater. So actually, floating, I'm giving it an E. It's not that good. But you can also have protection in the function of armor. So it's. I think that this checkerboard pattern is of different blocks is really good because the way the game processes the um the hitboxes. If you have like a slab, if you have a single block of like cardboard and you have like a huge slab of it, the game calculates this basically the same physics. The game the game looks both at both of them as a single body. But if you place the blocks in this checkerboard pattern, it makes the game think they're all separate even though they're connected. That basically makes it armor, but it's not that good, but it also kind of is. I'm giving it a D. Next up is camouflage. Now, camouflage is actually really useful because most modern battles are, you know, mostly about finding the other person who sees the other person first. And if you go and look at my Tank Battles episode 2 video, I tell you the fact that, you know, camouflage is really effective. And you can see that. There's times I can't see Dance because of it, there's times he cannot see me because of it. Because if you do it really well, it just blends right in. So I'm gonna have to give it an A. If you're fighting with no name tags, it can be really good. Next up, fucking different body armor. This is theoretically the same thing as the checkerboard pattern, just way less efficiently. It's the same thing. Like it still gives you some sort of better protection, yes, but it A makes you way bigger, B it makes you lag more, and C, take notes. You can't just place things on bearings and pistons all the time. But again, take notes. You can put this checkerboard pattern anywhere where there's just blocks. I'm giving it an F. It's a fucking shit thing. Ugh. Next up, landmine layers. Now, landmine layers are a bit of an OG, and they're kind of but it's not as bad as you think, but it's not as good as it used to be. Back in the day, tanks were very slow, very sluggish, very difficult to maneuver, and if you were chasing after someone and they laid the mine before you, you had no way of slowing down. Yes, you were going at like 2.5 millimeters per year, but you were still going to hit the fucking canister, which was going to explode and probably either kill you or cause major damage. If not, you're just simply lucky. So I'm gonna have to give that a D. It used to be good, but now it's kind of ineffective because, tanks are way more maneuverable. But, I have something that is basically the same thing as grenade launchers, just a bit better. Because it's more situational, but this has a higher power, and the whole gun, a secondary gun in the hole, is it can be an absolute lifesaver. Okay, I have to give it a B. It's just fucking. It's amazing. They're just. It's good. It's really really good. And I'm not saying like oh it's gonna win you the battle. No, it's pretty good. But then again, it's just one extra round. You can make it two extra rounds, but it might be in the way of like your turret basket or something. But it can be a real lifesaver. It really can be a lifesaver. Next up is first person sights. First person sights are kind of weird. First person sights are, if you just zoom all the way in when you're in a seat and you're in first person mode, and you can see right out them and you use that to aim with your turret. Now, that is not that good. That is an E. I think having to zoom in and out every single time you use it is kind of like a minor inconvenience in itself. But also, when you're in this mode, you can't see shit. You're fucking blind. And that brings me to third person sights, which are the same thing, but way better. Third person sights are really, really, really good because you don't have to zoom in and out every time to use them. You can just keep the strict follow cam on, and you can just position your camera behind the turret to look directly down the sight. And it's usually the first person sight is on the other side of the turret than the canisters, so this is more accurate, it's easier to use, it's more convenient, and it's more accurate. Third person sights actually B tier, they're really good. Actually, I'm placing placing secondary cannons at C. We're coming up on closing, but I'm gonna save the cold classic for last. Concrete mix wheels. Now what's really good about them? Concrete wheels, they're the exact same as regular wheels in terms of durability, but they have a slightly bigger hitbox, making it, if a canister explodes next to it, it's way more likely to protect your hole and the things that are inside of it, even though again it has the same durability, but it also has better friction than the large wheel, meaning that it actually gives you a bit more traction. So I'm gonna have to give that a D. It's not good, it's not terrible. And last but not definitely not least, aiming spuds. I personally do not like aiming spuds. Okay? Aiming spuds can be pretty useful, somebody gets out to reload, you can shoot them off of their tank, or you can just line up very long hits. But it was used to measure the exact place your canister was going to land by having the canister go at the same velocity as a spud would. Now the only problem with this is that spuds are slow as fuck. Okay, spuds are like I don't even know, man. Spuds are just kind of bad. Now they're just slow. Like a 24 power cannon, you don't have the capabilities. You just don't have the muzzle velocity to hit someone in long range. While with a 32 power cannon, you do have those capabilities. However, your spot gun, it's gonna land short from where you're going to hit. And if you want to take that into account, and you want to calculate the exact trajectory and the difference between them, that's gonna fuck you up. Because in a battle, the enemy is moving, and even though you see them and they might not see you, if you're gonna mess up that one shot in long range, they're gonna know where you are. Especially if you indicate that you're going to fire on them with spuds. I'm gonna have to place it at a B because it's not as good as people say. It's useful. It definitely is useful, but it's not that good. So that would be it. That would be my scrap mechanic military tier list of different public technologies. Take a screenshot. Feel free to implement any of these into your tanks. Most of these, wasn't really invented by me or any like very very popular person in the scrap mechanic community. I started using camouflage lately, and basically I'm kind of proud of myself on this one. But I basically invented these concrete wheels, which are not that good anyways, but still. So thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, leave a like, and I don't fucking